It's gonna take a while to prep the other one. I'm gonna do 400. Not sure if we're live or not. I think it might not be working again. Yep, no, it's working.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Hi, Turtle.
Check volumes. It should be okay. I think. Yeah. Should be fine.
Doing several things for y'all tonight. We are going to start with some artichokes. We are going to first bake in foil, and then we're going to grill them. You could eat them right after they're baked, but we like the extra flavor of the grill. So we're just going to show you how to do that full preparation, but we'll show you the point at which you could eat them if you only wanted to do part of the prep. So he's going to get started to show you what to do.
All right, so that's going. Within an artichoke, there's all these little spines, and you do not want to serve an artichoke with these. So the best process to get rid of them is actually using a pair of butcher scissors. Just like cutting shears, like these. So what I'm actually going to be doing is just removing these very top little pieces. And I have one that's already, that I worked on earlier. So you can see all the little spines on this guy versus these have all been chopped off. So I'm gonna do that with this one.
And be careful while you're handling it, because the spines are almost like little splinters, and they can get stuck in your skin. I used to work at a produce store, and that was one of the things I hated most, was grabbing an artichoke off of like the little conveyor belt thing, was I'd get pricked with them and then they would get stuck in my fingers like splinters.
You can get rid of these smaller leaves around the edge.
Yeah, and then holding him like he is by the stalk there will help prevent that from happening.
So we have our oven preheating. Hey, what's up, Penguin? We've got our oven preheating at 400 degrees for this because we want a pretty high heat on it. Just going around and around, making sure I get all.
And you just go kind of circular motion, flip them up as you go along. And I've got a small sheet pan here that I lined with foil. and then 2 pieces of foil ready to go, so that we'll wrap the artichokes in one in each piece of foil.
No, saying sorry to the stream. There we go. You can see that better now. Sorry.
And we're going to use a little bit of lemon zest, lemon juice, garlic, and olive oil kind of stuffed into the leaves as we bake them to get some flavor in there. So I'm just zesting some lemon right now. I'm also going to use some zest in the cocktail that we're making tonight. So I'm going to zest and juice lemon for that while I do it for the artichoke.
And yes, we eat lots of tofu.
We do, and there's a lot of different varieties of tofu, which helps kind of mix it up. We probably eat firm tofu
The most.
It's just the easiest to work with. The silken tofu is really nice to kind of blend up and, you know, mix into different things. And then there's like pressed kind of fried tofu, which is really good in curries and like replace chicken essentially. But we probably cook the most often with the firm tofu. You want to chop up some garlic?
Sure.
So I'm getting the extra zest off into a mason jar in order to prepare it for the cocktail tonight, which is a lemon, raspberry, and vodka cocktail. And if you don't have a zester, just the juice is fine, but it just adds some extra flavor with the zest. And it's kind of nice to like use the whole fruit that way also.
I have guava.
Where's your part? Oh, I'm getting it. Yes.
Do you need it?
I just need the lemon sliced on top. Thank you. Alright. So I'm using a citrus reamer here to juice the lemon. I've got half of it in a bowl here for the artichoke and the other half in a mason jar for the vodka drink, and that comes to about 1 ounce of juice. Two ounces total, 1 ounce per container here. So I'll put about 2 tablespoons of olive oil then in that bowl.
Is this for my...
For your artichokes. I always get in his way, or he and I. Some salt and pepper too.
I'm just going to slice up the garlic into discs to start with. I might actually do another pass over it since it's going to go into the artichokes, because we want it to get down into the little crevices. So it would be good to have it be nice and tiny.
Yeah, we're gonna basically like tuck it inside all of these leaves. There's little folds inside these leaves, so we're gonna just kind of basically pour it inside that as we fold it into the foil. And that'll allow everything to get essentially steamed, because there's enough liquid between the oil and the lemon juice that while it's wrapped in the foil, it will contain all of that moisture. And there's some liquid inside the leaves of the artichoke too that will get released as it gets cooked in that container of the foil. So it will help steam it just in the oven, really easy cleanup with the foil. And then we're gonna grill them off just for the extra flavor on our grill pan.
Does anything else need to go in here?
Nope, just mix it with your fingers.
Oh, I'll tuck it in.
And then we've got our sheet pan that's already been lined with foil, and one pretty big piece of foil for each artichoke, and then just kind of pour and stuff it in as you go along. You could kind of just rub the outside with a little bit of olive oil and sprinkle some salt and pepper. You don't necessarily have to add the extra stuff. We just like the extra flavor that it brings. And especially since we're using garlic and lemon and other recipes tonight, we might as well just kind of add it to the artichoke. It helps kind of bring all the flavors together and use up some ingredients that might otherwise go unused. I'm going to wrap that a little way.
I want to wait to see
How much?
Yeah.
So you're just kind of stuffing the pieces of garlic in as he goes along and mixing up the lemon juice and oil with his fingers, and then also coating the outside leaves as he moves around too.
So the finished product you get before it goes in looks a little bit like this. Maybe it'll come under this one. So you can see some of the garlic, and then I was like pushing these leaves open a bit and sliding into there. I'm gonna save this to
Yeah,
work with,
we use it. Yeah, we'll set that aside because we can use it in other stuff. If you had granulated garlic or garlic salt, that would also work in this. We do prefer to use fresh garlic, but again, if you're trying to kind of bang this out quickly, those are often, or definitely, good solutions. Like that. So we're gonna put those in the oven for a little while while we get started on our other goodies for tonight.
Yes, this is a memes channel. But yeah, I'm just gonna throw these in 400-degree oven. We got them nice and wrapped up.
And these are fairly small artichokes, so they won't take long to cook. Globe artichokes, which is often what you see like at Costco, they'll take a little bit longer. I'm gonna grab my stuff for our cocktail.
wrapping up the fennel? Or should I
Yeah.
work with the fish?
No, let's just get everything, like, that's
Right.
really the only thing that needs.
Tomatoes.
These I think we can just cook whole kind of blister them.
I was gonna slice them in half.
Okay.
So this is fennel. You can use the whole plant on this. It has kind of different flavors and different textures running through it. The base down here, this has the stronger like anise flavor and has a really nice texture to it. It's somewhat of like a root vegetable. And then the stalks up here, especially these fringe leaves, they almost look like dill but have a very different flavor. It's a little more subtle of an anise flavor, kind of that black licorice flavor. It works really well. For the salad, we're really going to primarily be using the piece near the root the most tonight, but probably use some of the top just as a garnish as well.
It's a little bit more tender in texture than celery, and it's definitely more mild of an anise flavor than black licorice, but it does have that flavor to it. And I'm actually going to use a little bit of the fronds in our cocktail tonight, and a little bit of basil as well. Just we're using that also in our dinner tonight. I like using herbs in drinks. If you don't like that flavor, you don't have to use that in the drink, but I just thought it would be nice to kind of run those flavors through with the drink since we're using them in the dinner. And again, just try to use up as much of the product as we can. We're not vegans, but we only eat fish as far as any kind of meat, and we do use very little eggs, although we use them mostly in breakfast and lunch, not so much in dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And then I eat very little dairy, and you eat no dairy, so...
Just butter.
Yeah, we eat butter, but not really any milk or cheese or anything like that. I will indulge occasionally, but eat very little. So we will use substitutes for those overall, but don't put like melting cheese on pasta or anything like that. So we are pretty limited in a lot of our things, but we do try to make substitutes and find ways of eating around that. But we can also offer you suggestions for what we would use if we were using meat or dairy. Well, we're cooking some halibut tonight, and I do love smoked salmon. I grew up in a very Jewish neighborhood in Los Angeles, so deli is one of the things I miss in Denver, that's for sure.
I'm just going to break this up a little bit with my fingers, just so it flakes a little bit more, but I just cut it down the middle and then cut against the grain that I had created to kind of get these nice pieces. We're going to make kind of a slaw out of this. And it's nice to do this too, because you're starting to release some of the oils from the inside, bringing them to the surface, and I can smell it so much more just from cutting it and then pulling on it a little bit. It has that nice anise flavor or smell to it, aroma.
So I had the juice of half of a large lemon, which was about an ounce of juice, and I added just now 4 tablespoons, like eating tablespoons, which was about an ounce of honey. Right now, to a little mason jar.
Hey, Rach.
Rinse out some basil leaves. Just gonna tear those in and add them.
So now I've got some of the fronds from the top of the anise. I'm just gonna kind of run my hand and try and pull off some of the leaves, like the very tips from the stems. This will be nicer to work with. I don't want to over chop this, I'm just going to go once through. I want them to still have a little bit of size to them. How much do you need for your
Just a
cocktail?
little bit.
Like that?
That's fine.
Okay.
So I added 4 ounces of vodka, and I've got some frozen raspberries that I've thawed, and I just added about a tablespoon. And the reason when you thaw them, you'll get a little more juice out of them. Again, I'm just using some of the frond of the anise since we've got it. I want to add that extra flavor. If you don't want to use it or you don't have it, it's not a big deal. Luckily, I thought to put out ice cubes before we started today, so don't send everybody on a ride. I'm gonna add 3 or 4 in here. Shake it up. And as I shake it, those raspberries, since they're thawed, are gonna break up and the juice is gonna get released. And everything else is gonna kind of mix up. The honey's gonna help make it frothy. And since I've got the basil and the fennel fronds in here, the oils are gonna get nice and broken up in there too from the ice. You have a couple glasses, please?
What kind?
The short one should be fine.
I'm just gonna slice some of these cherry tomatoes in half, or these grape tomatoes.
Those are grape tomatoes. So I'm going to use just the flat circular part here of the mason jar to help strain this over 2 glasses over ice. And then I'm going to top it off with some sparkling water just to give it a little bit of fizz and kind of break up the sweetness and thickness from the raspberries and honey. So it's almost going to taste like a raspberry soda, which it's been really hot for us the last few days. So this is going to be nice and refreshing. And again, using the basil and the fennel just kind of helps the flavors from the rest of the meal run through. But even with just the lemon and the raspberry, it's going to pair really well with the rest of the flavors in the meal that we're having tonight. And yeah, it's a pretty and kind of fruity girly drink, but it's also nice and refreshing on a hot day.
Oh yeah, this is this guy. It is. I can send you a link of what the camera model and whatnot is, because it would probably be good for your stream. The only problem is it's not autofocus, so you kind of have to set it and then just, you know, get what you want the focus to be, and then you kind of have to leave it. It's good. It wasn't expensive either. It was like 40, 50, somewhere in that range. What's next?
Fish.
Okay. Is it in the fridge?
Yeah, it's in the meat drawer. So we got some fresh halibut today. We wanted to use a pretty firm white fish. I was actually looking for tilapia, but the halibut just looked really good, so that's what I went with. Tilapia is definitely less expensive than halibut, and typically comes already with the skin off. So it's just a little bit less preparation, but this just looked really good and fresh today, so that's why I went with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it does still have the skin on it, so I'm going to need to remove that.
But we're making a cornmeal crusted fish tonight, and a firm white fish is going to hold up well to that preparation.
So, to do this, we did this last time with the salmon when we made the burgers. We're going to have to skin this. So you take it skin side down, and you're going to make a little slit going kind of this way, all the way down to the skin. And then this is going to become your handle, this little piece that you just cut. And then you're going to come back across and just kind of pull.
And you can see he's checking as he goes along to make sure that he's still close to the skin and not like hacking into the flesh of the fish.
Yeah, so you can see I'm really only leaving a very thin layer between the skin and the flesh now.
And he's also using his left hand to kind of pull very slightly on that this edge here, which that force helps guide the knife against the flesh and naturally kind of guide it just between the skin and the flesh. It's almost just like shaving it off.
So yeah, now
Yeah,
we're
it's
left
really
with,
easy.
Yeah, it's really not as hard as it looks. So you're left with just this nice piece of skin. You can see it's essentially totally thin. Bring it up here. So there's really just very little meat left. Our little handle, which I'll still absolutely use. You don't want to let any of it go to waste.
You just want to make sure to use a long knife. And you know, the first couple times you do it, you probably will get a few nicks into the flesh, but you can just start again and kind of go back down. But you'll get the hang of it pretty quickly of like how hard to pull on the one end and how hard to push on the other. It's just kind of a motion of your two hands together.
And you can see the fish is still all in one nice piece. Nice, still firm on this side. And I'm actually going to cut this in half, at least through this top part. It's thinner down here, but up here there's still quite a bit of meat on it. And I want it to kind of fry evenly. So I'm going to use my hand as a guide. And just kind of butterfly through the middle of the fish.
Which, if you're nervous about doing this, you can just cook it a little bit longer.
Yeah, this is a optional step. This is definitely not necessary.
Oh, and thank you, Rachel. Yeah, the colors of our house came as purchased.
Yeah, we really haven't done a ton of work to the house.
We would have picked a color like this, though.
Yeah. Okay. So, now you can see I've got some smaller fillets to work with, which is essentially what I wanted. Any of these extra little pieces?
Yeah, that's one
we'll
of
still
the...
use.
You sliced your hand pretty badly cutting an onion like that one time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's... If you don't want to do that, that's can be kind of scary.
Yeah.
The one good thing with fish, though, is like you have a pretty good grip on it. It's not terribly slippery or like rough to get through. An onion is both slippery and firm. Want to use these for the dredging?
Sure.
Can start with the flour and the cornmeal in these two. I think 1 egg should be enough, yeah?
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna do a 3-part dredging. First part's gonna be just all-purpose flour.
Yeah, a sharp knife is a chef's best friend.
Yeah. The second step will be a egg wash. And then the third step will be cornmeal.
So I've got an egg over here that I'm beating up. Do you want any water in it or just egg?
What's that?
Do you want any water in it or just egg?
Well, maybe a little water. You can add a little water to it as well to help thin it out. That's good.
Probably just about half a tablespoon.
Oh, I like Overwatch. I've been playing a decent amount of Overwatch, but I've been playing it on PlayStation. Alright, so now we have...
So you need a plate or something.
Yeah. Our process. So, we're just going to take the fish. We're going to start it in the flour. This will get just a nice little layer on it to help the eggs stick. Now we go into the egg. And this makes kind of like a glue now between the flour and the egg. So when it goes in the cornmeal,
It's seasoned.
it's okay. Put some on at the end. I know. You get a nice crusted fish.
And if you do happen to be gluten-free, you could do cornmeal, egg cornmeal. The flour is just a little bit finer, so it helps everything adhere a little bit better. And the cornmeal gives just an extra crunch to it, as opposed to just using flour.
You want to like kind of press on it lightly because this is a flaky fish. It has a lot of kind of grooves in it, and you want to make sure you're getting the batter into all of those pieces. Mm-hmm. Like I said, don't waste any of it, even those little side trim whatnots. We'll cook those too and eat those. And then I'm a fan of the skin, so I'm gonna cook the skin as well.
And one of the cooking shows that we really like on Netflix is Mind of a Chef. It's narrated by Anthony Bourdain, but it follows a series of different chefs kind of through their journey of becoming a chef, or, you know, what they were inspired by. And they made some fried salmon skin recently. They also made some cornmeal crusted
Catfish.
Yeah, catfish. So we've both been kind of hankering for a recipe like this lately. That's what we were inspired by for this recipe. And then we had a grilled artichoke at a sushi dinner the other night with a miso glaze. So that's probably why we wanted that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fennel and tomato was just, that sounded good.
Yeah. All right, so I am gonna turn the camera.
Yeah, it's working.
That work?
Yeah, a little bit more.
One more.
Maybe. That's better.
There we go. Hi, Jane. All right, so to cook these, we're just gonna do a large, shallow pan.
Purple pan, probably good.
Yeah.
This is actually my favorite pan. Bye, Rachel.
Bye, Rachel. This guy over. So you can at least see what's going on in that pan. Cool. So, we're going to get this nice and hot. And tonight I'm going to cook these in a mix of canola and grapeseed oil.
Did you put a timer on that or two?
No, I'm just waiting to smell them. You want to use enough to kind of coat the bottom of the pan because this is going to be our liquid for cooking the fish.
Watching somebody cook today on TV who said that shallots don't make you cry when you cut them.
Bullshit.
Exactly what I yelled at the TV. I don't know where where you get your shells from, lady, but.
Alright, I'm gonna check on these artichokes. I feel like they're getting pretty close. I just gave them a little squeeze. If they're starting to get softer to the touch, that means they're cooking through. Those liquids are being released. Let's see, I'm gonna move this guy over here. There we go, that's better. We're gonna test it with one of the smaller pieces. Not quite hot enough yet. See how it didn't like start sizzling right away?
You can also do the wooden spoon.
Mm-hmm.
I can do it. What shall
Is the music not playing? Well, it is.
Great.
Should be at least.
We have shallots for this. Tomatoes and stuff.
Okay.
Oh. God damn.
All right. See how it's starting to get a nice little sizzle to it? I like that better. So there we go. There we go.
We are using some fresh basil tonight. And one way of storing fresh basil is if you purchase it at room temperature, store it at room temperature. If you purchase it cold, store it cold. And we've got it just in a little glass jar with enough water to just cover the end of the stems. And I got it at room temperature, so I just got it on our counter. But if I got it cold, I would do the same thing and just put it in the refrigerator. There's something about changing that temperature shift that makes it like shrivel up either way. So it stays best since I purchased it at room temp to keep it just on the counter. And the water level again is just enough to cover those little stem tips.
All right, and this is something I actually should have done earlier in the process. I'm hitting it with this spice blend that's called Old Bay. Oh, let me see. Yeah, see, it doesn't look like there's music. What the hell? I'm sorry about that. Not sure why. Thought it was working earlier. I saw like things happening. Sorry if that's really loud. But yeah, Old Bay it's an awesome seasoning for really all types of fish and seafood and vegetables and even meat too. Chicken in particular. Steak, you really need to use a lot of it, but it's damn good. Yeah. So what I would have done if I was doing this correct was I would have put the Old Bay right into the cornmeal and mixed around the Old Bay with the cornmeal. I'm going to start checking some of this fish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift it up a little bit, and you always, I say it every time, but push it away from your body, so if it splashes, it goes away from you, not onto you. Just be careful when doing this, it's going to be popping a little bit. And it's okay if it breaks a little bit. You just want the pieces to stay relatively large. I'm gonna hit this side with a little bit of Old Bay as well.
We were lucky enough, the little market that we go to often, they were out of stock today, an Old Bay. And when they saw me looking around for it, they gave us some, like in a little container here from their like bulk stock that they use for some of the recipes that they make. They make a bunch of food, prepared food to sell. So that was very nice of them. One of the nice things about Denver to have businesses like that around.
Those are getting real close to being done. As is the fish.
The primary seasonings in it are what, like cayenne, some chili pepper, sriracha.
Yeah.
I think some lemon peel, so you could use some lemon zest. Celery salt. So you could essentially make your own, but that's one of the few seasonings that you buy ready-made.
And because we're cooking this in quite a bit of oil, I'm going to want to drain it on a plate that's covered in paper towels. The paper towels will absorb a lot of the excess oil because I don't want this to get all soggy and mushy. We're not going to eat all this fish tonight. It's quite a large portion. So as it gets near being done,
This is about 3/4 of a pound of fish, which is about 2 to 3 servings. For us, we don't eat a huge amount of food, especially since we're going to have the slaw with it and the artichokes. That's, you know, a good amount of food. If we're just the fish and the slaw, then this would probably be enough for the two of us. But for everything we're making it tonight, you could probably start for 3 or 4 people. Especially since you're cooking the skin separately too.
yeah,
That's like another half a serving for you.
yeah. So it's getting a nice golden brown. I can see into the fish. It's essentially done cooking. I just want to get a little bit more of a crust on it.
Actually, it's super sweet.
What's that?
The drink is super sweet. The spatula would work well too.
Yes.
Sometimes it has to be his idea.
Yes. Alright, and then we'll do the skin, just because we were out of room within the pan.
It'll cook a little bit differently too. You'll see it kind of, see how it curls up and puffs up. Yeah, we've both been craving this meal. I'm not a big fan of fish and chips, but this kind of fried fish I really like. It's a very different texture, flavor too. The corn gives it a much more kind of rich flavor. It's very different.
Yeah, this will cook very quickly because of how thin it is. Really, I'm just kind of searing that crust onto the skin.
Apollo, where are you from?
North Dakota.
Okay, so not Southern boy. Curious if you grew up on like Southern corn fried catfish. I wasn't, obviously not Southern, but I was exposed to it at a young age, and that's how I knew corn crusted catfish. Sorry to have offended you. I have no offense.
Alright, so we've got our kind of nice plate of corn-crusted, pan-fried halibut.
Oh, it's ND, not NO. Sorry, I need to go back.
I said North Dakota.
I know you said North Dakota, but I thought he was like, no, I'm not from the South.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull these artichokes out. Careful when working with them because there's actually going to be some steam in here as well. Mm-hmm. It's not too far from where my dad lives. So you can see. I'm gonna just grab one of these. We've got some nice color on this now. The leaves have softened up quite a bit to the touch. The meat on the inside of it is going to be have a nice softness to it as well. And it has all those flavors that we put in there. You know, the lemon, the garlic, the butter. No, not butter. The olive oil. So I'm going to slice these in half now. Actually, I'm going to rotate this back over. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. It's fine. It can rest on it.
Yeah. Just sorry for cutting it. Little one. Just have to use little shots.
All right. So. What's that?
Do you want another knife?
Yeah. So, something to note, since the last time we used the big cutting board and the big knife, we were cutting raw fish with it. We don't want to use that again to cut a vegetable that's essentially done and ready to eat. You'd be putting the raw fish right onto that vegetable. So, I'm going to take this. Am I in frame?
Yeah.
To give myself a little bit of a heat barrier. So you guys can hopefully hear me. I'm going to use just a paper towel to hold and brace it. And just start cutting through it vertically. To get the two halves of the artichoke. Do it to both of them.
I feel like we should be wearing Hawaiian shirts right now.
Why?
What do you say? I know.
Why would a Hawaiian shirt do this?
I don't know. It just feels like we're at the tropical bar.
So, with artichokes, really, this part down here is the heart. That's going to be the best part, and all these leaves on the outside are edible with a little bit of meat in them. However, this part here, with these purple flowers, or leaves, and then you can see it's kind of like almost wispy. Like, you can see that's the part that's the choke. If you eat that, you'll choke on it. It's basically like eating a mouthful of hair. So we're gonna remove that part with a spoon, kind of go in and pull, and you can see it starts to pull away from the heart, which is what we want.
Hey there. Hi, Kate. And yes, we are doing Stir Friday tomorrow. We've already got all the stuff for it, so we are locked and loaded. We are Kimball. We are ready.
So this way, I hollowed that area out, and we've just got a nice clean artichoke heart with these outer leaves attached to it that all have meat on them when you pull them away.
The fish has already been cooked, so you're good to go.
Oh yeah, and it was not salmon tonight, so.
Yeah, it's out of frame. You don't need to worry. The rest of the stuff is all vegetable. And no fish tomorrow for Stir Friday. We have Indian food tomorrow for Stir Friday. Kate's saying the music's louder than normal.
Okay. That should be better. I thought it was a little bit louder too, but Turtle said it was nice, so I left it. So you'll have to
Blame him.
Yeah, you'll have to take it up with him. Because usually we can barely hear it, and I can hear it pretty well.
Oh, it was just the song ending. Fade out. I was listening to the radio today and the DJ was so terrible. Yeah. Mixing has become just like making scratching sounds and then turning on the next song.
So we're going to come back over to our grill pan.
I'm sorry. Welcome to my world with you.
This and then this. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna get our grill pan. So these artichokes are ready to go. This is just an extra step to get a little extra caramelization and flavor right on the surface of the heart. But it's something I like to do. So we're gonna take just a little bit of canola oil.
Oh, thank you. This was a home goods purchase, I think.
Let that get nice and hot. Although, Kate, you did miss the cocktail.
Mm-hmm.
So since this is open, I'm going to hit it with a little bit of salt and pepper on the inside. So even though we put the garlic and the lemon and the olive oil on the outside and kind of shoved it into some of the leaves, I want to get some of that right on the heart. And I'm going to kind of crisscross these so they all fit. Like so.
How did you miss the cocktail?
Huh?
I don't miss the cocktail.
He doesn't pay attention.
We did it
Like
after we put the artichoke in the oven. I kind of did it while you were doing things.
Mm-hmm.
It's lemon juice, honey, frozen raspberries, vodka. You shake it up, and then you add a little bit of sparkling water. That's all. That's okay. A lot of people don't pay attention to me. They talk a lot.
You see kind of this golden color here? This is what I'm going for in the grill preparation of it.
The nice thing too about doing this is that by removing all of that choke first, is that when you go to actually eat the artichoke, it's just like ready to go. Because oftentimes when you get served a whole artichoke at a restaurant or something, you get to that point and then you've got to cut all that out and like cut around it to get to the heart. So even though it took a few minutes to do that, now when we go to eat this, we can just kind of devour it and not have to worry about that while we're eating it. So it is really nice, even if you are just gonna not do the grilling part of it, it's nice to slice it in half and clean that part out, because it saves you that effort while you're actually eating it. Particularly if you have guests and you're serving it to them, it just kind of takes that mess out of it. And it's really not that difficult to do. It's actually easier to spoon it out than it is to do it at the table. And yes, we have done stuffed artichoke. It's actually also pretty easy. We can do that on another stream. We still had some breadcrumbs left from the kind of crusted fish that we did a week or so ago. So it's not terribly difficult. So yeah, we can show you how to do that. It actually would be very similar to what we did early on. We would start with the same process and then just kind of stuff them with some seasoned breadcrumbs and put them back in the oven to finish. So if you watch the beginning of the stream, you can kind of see what we did as the first part of the preparation for the artichokes.
So I'm just going to make this slaw now. We've got the grape tomatoes and the fennel in here.
Yeah.
We've got the lemon juice, olive oil, garlic, salt, and pepper.
The basil and shallot.
And then some chopped basil and shallot.
Yeah, if you want to cook along, we will let you know when we're going to do that. We can post the ingredients for it ahead of time so you know what you would need. And artichokes, they are really kind of intimidating, but they're not terribly difficult to work with if you know just the steps to go through with them. And they're pretty tasty. They look fancy too, like if you're trying to impress somebody. It seems really like, well, seems like you're having something gourmet, even though it's not a huge amount of effort to put into it.
So there, just a very simple slaw.
Kimbo's really hoping she gets some.
There she is.
Poor Kimbo's getting old. She's got a little hurt leg right now. Oh, Kimbo.
So yeah, I think that's everything. So yeah, thank you again, everyone, for hanging out. And I'm sorry, you're not getting anything.
Oh, do you want to show the raspberry stuff?
Oh yeah.
Here, this up. So tomorrow, as we said, we're gonna do Stir Friday, and we're gonna make a few different dishes. But one of the things we're gonna do is a dessert, and we're going with kind of an Indian theme. So tomorrow we're gonna make basically like a frozen mango lassi, but we made a different version tonight, which is a peach raspberry flavor. Of ice cream made with just coconut milk. So it's only coconut milk, frozen peaches, and frozen raspberries. And I just blended it up in our food processor and just put it in the freezer. So we'll show you how to do the full recipe tomorrow with a mango flavor. But we wanted to make sure we had something frozen to show you tomorrow night. So we figured we'd show you quickly. Right now we're gonna eat some tonight with our dinner. But we'll have then both flavors, like one that's kind of, you know, in process and then one that's fully done to show you guys tomorrow night. So yeah. Yeah, took me like 2 minutes to make. You can do it in the blender too, very easy. Any frozen fruit really that you want. But we figured mango would go good with the Indian flavors we're gonna have tomorrow.
Cool. Well,
That's all.
Yeah, that's it for tonight. Hope everyone enjoyed. For Turtle and Kate, who missed the cocktail, I recommend going back and watching that. It was pretty easy and it tastes really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's something different. So yeah, we will see you tomorrow night for Stir Friday. And yeah, have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you for hanging out. I always appreciate everyone participating in chat and having a good time. We will see you tomorrow.
Good night, everybody.